On our last episode, we were talking about trips and how we get excited by matching outfits and hats and all that good stuff. So I went to my closet and counted all of my golf hats.
Go on.
Take a guess as to how many hats I have.
137.
140.
No way.
How absurd is that?
I was trying to joke.
I have a shelf in my closet and I stack hats on top of each other, and there's like 4 piles of hats, and they're so high that they're crooked. At any given time, like the whole pile could come down because one hat gets unlodged.
Why do you have 140 hats?
Why are long pants long? Why are bushes bushy?
Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Dude, you have too many hats. Give some hats away. I can't. First of all, I was throwing out 137 as like an absurd guess. Like,
I
I
know.
thought it was going to be like 35.
Obviously, the way I asked you the question, you know the number is going to be high.
So what is it that you think is wrong with you? Oh my God.
So
Look at that photo. What are you doing? Like, look, first of all, the hat that's on the bottom of one of those stacks is toast. It's gone. It's not a good hat anymore. It won't hold its form. Whenever this goes on an episode, that needs to go on the Instagram.
You look at this pile, and from afar, I might say, oh, that looks like about 50 or 60 hats. And then I started counting. So while you're all doing the math on how much money I've spent on hats, I will defend myself partially by saying this is over decades. Like, some of these hats are like 30 years old. It's probably 75% golf hats. Why do I have so many? I think the semi-serious answer is whenever I go somewhere and I have a fun time, I get a memento. And for a long time, it was only hats.
Have you ever heard of CLA? Clutterers Anonymous is a 12-step fellowship modeled after Alcoholics Anonymous, designed to help individuals with compulsive hoarding and cluttering behavior.
If collecting golf hats is wrong, I don't want to be right.
It offers a safe, non-judgmental space to share experiences and build, aiming to bring serenity and order to members' lives.
I look forward to seeing the reactions of people who are like, hold my beer.
There are no words. I can't follow that with anything. I'm going to be thinking about that for hours now.
On that note, we are very excited about today's guests and topic. We've got our good friends and a father and son pair, David Johnson and Luke Johnson. And DJ is a friend of ours, our contemporary. Luke is his son who is in high school, and talking about what golf means to fathers and sons is, I think, super meaningful for us because we both learned the game from our dads.
Yep. I mentioned in a previous episode, my dad died almost 20 years ago now. I would love to now, as a father and a much better golfer than I was back then, like be able to play with him and talk to him about everything that's going on. So if you are a father or a son and you're listening to this, do not miss those opportunities. I'm here to tell you they are precious.
100%. So without further ado, we bring you our conversation with DJ and Luke.
Welcome to Weekday Golf. David Johnson and Luke Johnson.
It's great to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for spending a little time. We are friends through the Olympic Club. David, you are Luke's father. True or false?
Luke, I am your father. Yes. True.
I definitely remember meeting Luke when he was a wee youngster getting into golf. And it's been fun watching Luke clearly get bitten by the golf bug. And I see you at the club a lot. I see you with buddies. I see you playing and practicing, sometimes by yourself as well. I see DJ participate when he can, taking time from being a busy working dad. And it's been awesome to sort of watch your progress because now I know, Luke, you're playing competitively And I know you caddied at the USAM as well. And so just really getting into things.
Yeah, it's been a ride. I mean, that caddying at the USAM was pretty amazing. Caddied for Matt Parziale. Just a great experience overall. He's a great dude, firefighter. I think that definitely added to the love that I have for the game of golf.
Maybe we can start from the beginning. DJ, how did you get into golf?
I played a bunch of sports growing up, pretty typical football, basketball, tennis, and always loved golf. Didn't have a lot of access to courses. And it's funny, like growing up when we did, golf had yet to be cool. It took this guy named Tiger Woods to really, pull it out and show the world just what an incredible sport it is and how good you can get without ever mastering the game. It was during that time, I guess, when Tiger was kind of coming up. It's 1996, give or take. Tiger's out on tour. I had just finished college. I'd played a little bit late in college and had some fun with it, but then it was in watching Tiger's rise and watching everybody be elevated around him that's when I guess I personally got bit by the bug and just had a ton of fun playing the whole experience, friends and travel and all that good stuff was really great. Taking it one step further to where we are here talking father son, that was really my goal right from the start with Luke, was just to find a golf buddy. To you're raising young kids. Luke has an older sister, Izzy, 3 years older, and you're in the thick of it, and there's not a lot of time for 4 and 5 hour rounds of golf with your buddies with young kids at home. But I thought, hey, if I can hook this guy early, I got a shot at being able to play more golf. And so that was kind of the start for me and what led me to really wanting to bring Luke into the game early on.
How frequently were you playing and who did you play with?
Prior to kids, I would try to play, ideally once a week, probably closer to twice a month. You got a lot going on early in a career and you're busy. But then when kids showed up, it was almost a screeching halt. You have too many other things to do. Every so often you get to the range, you might find an opportunity to sneak out on an afternoon, but it was not a lot of golf that was being played in the early years of our kids' lives. But as you bring them into the game, whereas I brought Luke into the game, it opened more things up just to get him to a lesson where then I could go to the range while he's at a lesson, and then we could maybe putt on the putting green and have a little time like that. But and to answer who was I playing with, mostly other dads who were kind of in the same situation. We were all feeling fortunate that we found a few minutes in life to sneak out on the course.
So, Luke, did you realize that your golf career was born out of your father's selfish need to have a golf partner and get out to the course himself? Is this something that you knew before?
Oh, 100%. He would take me to the range when I was like 3 years old, and it really sparked when I had soccer practice, and we'd go before soccer practice, and I eventually just had a love for the game of golf and kind of slowly gave up soccer.
What's different for you, golf versus soccer? Like, why did golf grab you?
I think the coaching had a big effect. My soccer coach didn't help me too much, and I found that golf, I didn't have to have a coach, and if I wanted a coach, I could have one.
And where did you learn to play?
I mean, we started going to the range at Presidio. I became a member at Olympic Club when I was 8, and I used the downtown facility a lot. I didn't start using the Lakeside facility until I was about 12, I want to say. And that really helped out when I had that. Chipping and putting was amazing over there, and then obviously the range.
So, Luke, when you're talking about just falling in love with the game, can you tell us a little bit more about what that means?
Playing with friends, for sure. Playing with my dad. I mean, whenever I play with my dad, I feel like it's a great experience. He really brought me into the game of golf, and he tells me the mental state of golf, not exactly the swing part. But he really taught me about how to handle myself out on the golf course and, when to pick up, when it's time to move to the next hole. And I just loved the challenge of the game and how I would have to handle myself and be humble out on the golf course.
You guys know my golf game well enough to know that I have no business teaching anybody anything about the golf swing. But what I've learned is that, one, with kids, if you can just make it fun, right? Whether that's as they get old enough to potentially drive the golf cart or maybe sit on your lap and drive the golf cart. It's kind of like skiing. You want to give them that bluebird day, right? You don't want to take them out in the middle of a windy, cloudy day on the top of a mountain where they just want to go home and never want to come back. If you can give them that experience, right, that is going out there and just having fun and learning a new technique, but also having a burger dog and a soda pop afterwards, that's really something. You can take it to the next level from there and really teach some basic stuff. Luke referenced when it's time to pick up. Yeah, of course, that's important. But nobody really remembers what your score is. What they remember is, did you keep up and were you fun to be around or not fun to be around? And if you can do those two things, wherever you're at in your golf game, you're going to be welcomed in pretty much across the board, right? Stay on course and be fun to be around. And so things like, keeping a few tees and a ball marker and a green repair in your pocket, making sure that you're able to efficiently pull clubs at the right time and just move along. These are the kind of things that I really spent my time trying to teach Luke. And the rest of the time I left in the very capable hands of folks like Tom Johnson and Nicole and Nick and others at the Olympic Club.
I've known your dad for a little while, and I have yet to meet a person who does not want to play golf with him, Luke. He is 100% spot on with all this advice. What did he do to make it fun for you? Do you remember? What was coming your way?
I mean, the golf cart was always a fun thing to do, Definitely, like he said, just getting a burger dog or getting a soda pop, those were all really good things. Being able to hit the driver a lot, I loved that. Wedges kind of came in later for me, but always teeing one up and hitting it as hard as I could. I'd love to do that.
Did you learn using Operation 36 or was that after your time?
Yeah, I did Operation 36. I think I started it when I was about 12.
Just a quick State of the Union. How old are you now?
I'm 16.
And what's your current index?
I am a scratch.
Okay, nice.
Can you just describe for our listening audience what Operation 36 is?
Yeah, so Operation 36 is you got to go out on 9 holes, par 3 course, and you got to shoot a 36 or better, which is 9 over or better. So bogey on every hole, or obviously better than that. But you would go from, I think, 80 yards and in, and once you beat that 36, then you would come back and do it again, until you got to the back tees, and then you kind of advance from there.
Yeah, I think my kids started at like 25 yards and then moved back to 50 yards.
Yeah.
Basically, like progressively move further back as you shoot 36 on a 9-hole course, which would make it hard for a father to say, yeah, just go bang your driver 100 times, because he's like, no, that's not how we're going to pass this Operation 36 stuff.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting one, because as a dad who's tried to introduce the game to my kids, they didn't gravitate towards it as much as you, Luke. But there's kind of like a balance of, hey, just rip it as hard as you can. Get a feeling of making solid contact. And when you get a really good one, that's the feeling that you get excited about.
Sets the hook.
Yeah, but you balance that with, you want a good score.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
let's not get frustrated right off the bat by, getting a big number on a 380-yard hole. Let's start from 25 yards. And when you see your scores being relatively low, that's fun too. So DJ, State of the Union of your game.
A very good question. It is still January as we sit here on the 29th.
Oh, there's a lot of setup coming here.
Yeah, we're working a few of the kinks out, but actually put together a few good rounds just recently. I've struggled my fair share as well, just getting things back. But it's like finding just a few little swing keys to focus on and letting those come through. Fortunately for us here in the Bay Area, we've had some really good weather here throughout January. allowing us to get out and play and kind of work through the kinks. So I'm pretty optimistic on what the spring and certainly what the summer looks like for me.
I'm seeing a couple 79s here on DJ's
Wow, you're
card.
checking
I'm
on me,
kind of
aren't you?
digging that, bro.
You see that sweet 89 I put on the lake last week?
Oh,
Yeah,
nobody's paying any attention to that.
That was a really good effort at trying to sidestep the question, but we're on the case. So
Yeah,
DJ,
nice try.
are there any memories that stand out for you of Luke's golf journey thus far?
It's a great question. A couple things. We have a great video from when Luke was probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 years old, hitting balls at the Presidio, and he would make the swing and then make great contact with it, and then he would shake his booty. And that was pretty fun, right? Again, we're just trying to have a little fun while we're doing all this. So that's a fond memory. Look, we've gotten to play in a lot of different places. We played down in Mexico during spring break, travel to Florida regularly. We have a couple of golf courses in Idaho where Stacy, my wife's family, lives that we play when we go up there, and that's pretty exciting. One of our greatest memories, Luke, and you can back this up, but we've now been to Bandon Dunes 3 times together. I think that's where I truly set the hook, was the first time going up to Bandon with him. We just got a wild hair and did a road trip and spent whatever 3 or 4 days playing a whole lot of golf. And that was pretty amazing. I'll take it one step further, Oliver, and this is, just being fortunate as a golf dad and honestly to be Luke's dad, to watch him kind of grow into the young person that he's becoming is, I'd like to say part of that's on Stacy and I, and we'll put more of that on Stacy than me, but I think the game of golf has had a huge influence on the way he looks at things, the way that he thinks about things, the way that he considers a lot of different variables, and then is willing to accept the consequences in a very grown-up way for whatever actions he takes. And I hope that stays with him forever.
That's great. One of the things that Preston and I have spoken about before is that our focus for this show is what we call the soul of golf. And it's the playing of the golf, but it's all the corners and nooks and crannies of the sport and everything related to it that makes it so great. But for the two of us, at least, we didn't really appreciate it as much until we got older. And
Exactly.
so Luke, when you're hearing this as a 16-year-old with your whole golf life ahead of you, what's your reaction when you hear that? Do you agree with that?
I totally agree with it. And I kind of want to go off of what my dad was saying, where golf definitely, relates to my life. I mean, you hit a drive and then you slice your 3-wood into the woods, and you have to accept that you're going to take a 2-stroke penalty. You got to accept the consequences. And that definitely resonates with me. And my friends tell me sometimes that I'm more quiet than others. And I definitely think I get that from the game of golf too, where I only speak when I kind of need to. And I feel like just going out to the range and being quiet and doing my own thing has brought that to me.
I love that.
Yeah, that's incredible. What does golfing for you today look like?
Yeah, so today I ended school early, but usually it's like a 2:45 day. I go up to Olympic Club and I usually hit the range first. It can also be putting first for me, but I like doing range for, I don't know, about an hour, 45 minutes. I don't love being a range rat, being out there for too long could be bad, but I do love spending a lot of time on the chipping green and the putting green. I feel like that's where the game's important, where you have to get up and down and you have to make the putt to save par. It's an important part of the game. And, 100 yards in, that's where it's at. That's where the scoring comes in.
You're 16. What does the soul of golf mean to you at this stage in your life?
Just kind of means what you feel the game of golf should be for you, whether that's playing with friends or kind of playing like you want to get to the next level, and your love for the game as well, and how you treat the game. You can't just go out and damage up the course, like fill in your divots, repair your ball marks,
DJ, I'm observing you here and I'm sensing an immense amount of pride Can you articulate your thoughts on watching your son evolve as a golfer, of course, as a young man, though?
Yeah, look, it's golf makes it easier, especially if you've got a youngster that gravitates to it, right? When that happens, I don't have to do much, right? I just sit back and kind of let the game teach what the game teaches, and then pick my spots where I can reinforce something or where I can ask a question about it and let him speak out loud about it and say, "Yeah, this happened and that happened, and this is what I did, or this is how I reacted, or ideally in our world, how I didn't react." It's funny, that was another part of the conversation when Luke was young. We probably had this on the drive up to Bandon, but the importance of not reacting and being willing to just let things transpire as they do, to Luke's point, accepting consequences and doing it in a way where there's no going backwards. It's all looking forward. And when you can shift the mindset, look, I wish I was better at this my whole life, but in general, and I think everybody would say that, but to just focus on what lies ahead instead of, kicking ourselves for whatever has happened behind us, I think we'd all be a lot better off. And that is exactly what golf teaches. And it's fun to watch Luke, grasping that at an early age.
Amen, brother. Luke, do you think DJ is a good dad?
No. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely do. I'm lucky to have him. Super lucky.
That's another aspect of this whole thing. I told you earlier that this whole thing started because I was looking for a golf buddy. Best news for me is I found one, but that's a whole nother piece, right? For all those dads out there that are, doing their best to bring their kids into the game, and however they go about it, some will be more competitive than others, some will be more laid back than others, whatever the case might be, but keep doing it and enjoy it and stay with it, because it really does pay off, not just in having a golf buddy on the golf course, but there's a relationship, there's an aspect of that relationship that just keeps growing over time, that I'm excited to see where it takes Luke and I, and I wish all the other dads out there as much joy as the game can possibly bring them.
You made me think of a question, which is, have you seen in your golf dad life, fathers that you would maybe not want to emulate, behavior around junior golf stuff that you're like, kind of makes you cringe, or that you wish kind of people would have maybe a little bit of a different attitude around their kids and golf?
If they are mutual friends, please name names.
I won't be naming any names. Honestly, we're really lucky at the club and with a lot of the dads that are out there. Again, different styles, different techniques, different approaches. Some guys get really caught up in the numbers around things. Some guys get really caught up in all the travel and all the other stuff. And look, if I've had maybe a weakness in my golf dad capabilities, when a lot of other dads wanted to take their kids to golf tournaments, I was never opposed to Luke playing in a golf tournament, but I didn't want to drive, 2 hours away and not play. So I'm the dad that, Luke and I go play golf together a lot. And I may have detracted a little bit from his experience in more tournaments, because we would rather go play on a Saturday than drive however far it is to the golf tournament while I stood around and tracked the numbers and he was out on the golf course. That just wasn't my style. We'll see how that plays out. But look, strengths, weaknesses, right, wrong, I'm not sure. I've just kind of done it my way and left the rest to what happens from here.
Well, I think it sounds like you've done it extremely well. I wouldn't be too self-critical here, but I can't imagine that making a decision to go and play golf with your kid is ever going to be the wrong one. You know what I mean?
Absolutely right.
Yeah. I would hazard a guess that years from now, when Luke thinks back to this time in his life, he's going to remember playing with his dad.
100%.
So, Luke, getting to scratch as a 16-year-old, your game obviously has had to evolve a lot in the past, call it 4 years. What would you say led to your improvement?
Yeah. I mean, again, it's kind of that mental state of mind where, keep the big numbers off the card. That's an important piece of golf. where it's all right to get a bogey, go birdie the next one, but you can't get a double bogey. You can't get a triple bogey. And I found myself when I was, I want to say 13 or 14, shooting kind of in the low 80s, mid 80s. And then that slowly went down to high 70s and mid 70s and kind of took me to where I am today. But I feel like, going to the range and practicing, yeah, it's super important, but also being out on the course and learning, how to manage a course correctly is very important as well.
So how do you know when you're in danger of that quote unquote big number? And what do you do?
I mean, that's where the chipping and putting comes in. Again, you could hit a perfect drive and slice your 3-wood, but you got to take that 2-stroke penalty. And if you chunk one, then you get a double. But then you go and birdie the next. You just want to try and keep the big numbers off the card. Yeah.
But does that mean that like you sense when you're in danger of it and you're like, okay, I got to play the rest of this hole smarter?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't love going into a hole saying, you got to keep the big numbers off the card. That's not a good way to start off. I like to keep as much golf related stuff out of my head as I can when I'm on the golf course. Swing thoughts can just leave.
Amen.
Yeah.
I play a lot of golf with a guy who is very focused on mechanics.
Yeah.
And there's sort of an internal debate as to whether or not it benefits him. I'm not quite sure. I haven't figured it out. I have to talk to him after this to figure that out.
Yeah. I mean, this guy, strangely has a very similar handicap to the guy that doesn't think that way. And so, which is better? Who's to say?
Who's to say? Who knows? Nobody knows. It may be unknowable. I don't know.
That's right. Preston and I have often asked ourselves what makes your game good, not great, poking fun a little bit at ourselves. If you know what your strengths are, what are the things holding you back from being even better? And so, Luke, I want you to answer that question, but first I want DJ to answer that question for Luke. So DJ, what do you think makes Luke's game good, not great?
And then answer it for yourself too.
Okay. Well, look, I'm watching something that's helping him immediately, and that's just called being a teenage boy and growing and watching how much further he's hitting the ball and all the things, both mentally and physically, that are enhancing things. So lucky him, because I don't have that on my side. But man, if I were going to say something that's in any way holding him back, it's just a little bit more, how do I say it, competitive experience, probably. Just getting in there and feeling the butterflies, jitters, whatever that experience is that makes you watch it every week on tour, right? Somebody's now got a chance to do something that they've never done before and they struggle with it, right? You see it in majors every time. You see it at every level. That's part of, I think, something that Luke could probably gain more experience with, is probably better said. For me personally, it's pretty simple. It's that 6 inches between your two ears that tends to get in the way. And look, that can be swing thoughts. Sometimes it is for me. Most of the time, I find it's like other stuff going on in life that I bring onto the golf course with me that I'm thinking about that you probably should let go on that first tee and not even worry about until well after the 18th tee. It's not going to go anywhere. You're certainly not going to change it while you're out there, but sometimes it has an impact on my game.
Luke, how would you answer that question for yourself?
I'm with my dad. The competitive mindset, I'm not worried about my competitive mindset, but getting into more tournaments and, getting the butterflies and getting the jitters, it's an important part of golf. If you want to bring your game to the next level, obviously. Also, like the pace on my putts too. Like I'm not scared to get the ball to the hole. So
I like that about you, Luke.
But sometimes it could be dangerous.
I remember, this is a little anecdote from my college days. I played on a college team, and there was a captain my freshman year who was a multiple sport varsity athlete, and he didn't practice with us all the time. And we had a couple of older guys on the team, and one day this captain does show up, and I could see the other guys tense up around him and just totally hit completely out of character shots. And that's kind of crazy because you're teammates, but it's an example where I want to do well in front of this person. And we've all felt this in certain games that we play or matches, whether they're a high school tournament or, oh, I just happen to get matched up with the club champ or something. You kind of want to play well. Then all of a sudden you're feeling things you don't normally feel, right?
What are you laughing about, DJ?
Look, this is all the stuff that you've got to overcome. I'm excited. We sit here today. Next week is the week of tryouts for SI Golf, where, Luke's playing, and SI's got a heck of a team. His scratch handicap puts him in the hopeful category for varsity golf.
Did we establish that SI is St. Ignatius College Preparatory here in San Francisco?
That's right.
So all the things that Oliver just described are coming in real time, Luke's direction. And not just Luke's, but everybody else on that golf team. And it's going to be fun to watch all these young guys go out there and play as hard as they can and see who kind of rises to the top, because I think that's what happens with pressure. Certain folks will rise and other folks will struggle. It's a big thing that'll be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Wishing you all the best, Luke.
I appreciate it.
What else? What's on the 2026 golf calendar for the Johnson family?
There'll be some travel to Florida to visit my family, so we'll play some golf down there. We will spend some time in Idaho over the summer, get some golf up there. There'll be plenty of golf here in the Bay Area. I know that. Luke, let's hope things go well for SI. I mean, they're going to have a really great team, and I think that's going to give them some exposure to a number of different golf travels. There will be a visit to Bandon in August, which is exciting, and then we'll see. Preston, in the meantime, I'm just warming up for the Los Cab Cup. You know what I mean?
As you should. It will be a highly competitive, intense environment.
I think you've got 88 guys warming up for the Los Cab Cup right now.
We actually have 90 guys.
Imagine that.
Did your dad tell you about this trip when he came back from it 2 years ago, Luke?
Was that the one to Arizona?
Yeah.
Yeah. Seems super fun.
This is the future of your soul of golf once you get past all of these very competitive things that you're doing. So on that topic, DJ, I didn't ask you, what do you think about this idea, the soul of golf? When you hear that, what does that mean to you?
I think the soul of golf for me, certainly the game itself and the score and the improvement and all of that. But when I get down to like what the real soul of golf is, it's the only word I could use is relationships. It's the people that you spend the time around. It's being invited on trips like the Los Cab Cup. It's getting to join some buddies out on the lake on a Friday afternoon. It's a random situation that comes up where you meet a client that you never would have had a chance to interact with, or and you talk about fathers and sons. I mean, this is part of, like, if I did hand Luke something for the rest of his life, just exposing a young person to a game like this, you hope they gravitate, and I'm lucky that Luke has. But at the same time, like, how many people do you talk to that say, I wish I would have, my dad tried to show me and I just wasn't into it, and I wish I would have. And to get that kind of exposure and to get to carry a game like golf for the rest of your life, and all the relationships, which I equate to the soul of golf, with that, is a pretty cool thing.
The good news is it's never too late.
That's right.
And the even better news for Luke is you've got a head start. You've got a lot of runway to look forward to.
How about you guys? I'm interested in the soul of golf for you guys.
Well, listen to episodes 1 through 3.
Yeah. I mean, put the pot on, bro. That's all we do around here is talk about the soul of golf.
Preston has heard this a million times, but I grew up around the game, not too dissimilar to Luke. And I enjoyed it. I had fun. I had buddies. But it really went up a level about 5 years ago when I was able to spend more time playing and meeting all these friends. And what golf has meant to my life went from, this little percentage to a much, much larger percentage. And it's no small part due to me having fun playing, but it's all those other things. And certainly my hope is for all golfers out there that they feel that or get to a place where they can experience that as well.
I don't think I could have said it any better than that. That was just excellent. My goodness.
It's the greatest game, is it not?
It is.
I think so.
I will say that we've been talking a lot about fathers and sons playing. And if you listen to episode 2, we kind of dive into how we got our starts in the game. And for me, it was definitely like my dad introducing me to it. And on the note of it's never too late, I'm also glad I got into it when I did, because now it's become this thing in my life that's kind of bigger than I could have ever possibly imagined. I mean, we're sitting
Right.
here doing a podcast about it and what it means to us and what it means to everybody else. And when people ask, like, we're decent golfers, right? And they're like, oh, how long have you been playing? And I said, well, I started when I was around 11 or 12. And then there are those folks who started later in life, and they always say, almost invariably, God, I wish I'd started then. Because there's something about ingraining like a swing into your athletic brain when you're that age that, in my opinion, has gone on to serve me pretty well. So I applaud Luke's decision to become a golfer at age 12. Good call and nice work, Dad.
Pleasure. I was going to make a comment. You talk about how golf has kind of gotten to be this thing that's bigger than you ever expected in your own life. And I think just the four of us on this conversation, I think we could all say that. Like, I'm doing more around the game of golf than I ever really thought or expected. It's not more than I hoped, but it's that. And I know, Preston, for all you have going on, Oliver, for all that you're doing, Luke, for where you're at in the stage of life, like, I think we can all say, one, that we're doing more around the game of golf, which is beautiful. But I also think we're trending in the right direction. Like, this is growing for each of
Oh, yeah.
us. And that's pretty exciting to think that we're doing a lot, but there's a lot more that lies ahead.
So DJ and Luke, you're both involved with the junior team at the Olympic Club. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I was fortunate to get a call. There's a gentleman named Mike Miller who had coached the team for years. This is also the Bay Cities team, but look, we're so blessed. So Mike had coached for years, stepped away in retirement. Myself and another friend, Josh Levin, and another friend, Sherman Souther, are now the three coaches of the junior team. And we have so much talent that it's just been a total blast. And just getting to know these young people and having them come out, and it's a really inclusive environment where it's not about handicaps. It's about a junior player that wants to get better at golf. They're all welcome to come out, and if nothing else, practice with the team and learn the game and spend some time. And we've kind of siloed responsibilities in that one of the coaches, Josh, is very good with the golf swing. Sherman and I on the other side are a little bit more about strategy and mindset and the way you look at things. And so we're able to kind of come at it from each of those angles and hopefully help each golfer improve in each, aspect of the game. It was our first year last year. We're excited about what lies ahead for this year. But yeah, to all the juniors around the club, come on out.
Yeah, kind of going off that. It's special what we have out there, like my dad said, a ton of talent and all that. But another thing is I've known these guys that are out there for a long time. A couple of them I did the Operation 36 with, and I've played in tournaments with these guys, and I go to school with these guys. So, and some of them we're gonna lose this year, but it's been a ride, and hopefully we can keep doing it every year and play well.
What do you think about this Coach Sherman guy?
Oh, Sherman's been one of my great friends now for a long time. Like, we play golf a ton, and he's a cool guy.
Really? Are you
Yeah.
sure? You sure about this?
Seems like you know him pretty well.
You don't
too.
want to think about. I've known Sherman since second grade.
Oh, wow.
I've known him a lot longer than probably anybody. I agree with you. They're both good guys. Josh and Sherman are good guys. They're good friends of ours. What's the dynamic like for you two when Dad's coaching on that team?
I mean, not too much, honestly. Like, I felt like it would be different this year, but I didn't feel much difference, Like, we go out and we play at Peninsula, and we play in San Jose, and we play at all these great clubs, which we're lucky to play at. But, my dad's either in front of me in a group or behind me in a group. But, I just go out and play as best as I can with my teammates.
Yeah, that it brings up a point, Preston. Like, and this again, different styles, different techniques, whether it's parenting or coaching or anything else. And Luke and I have had this conversation just in the last, I don't know, 12 or 18 months, where my style, my technique is, it's the lead a horse to water, right? The rest I can't do much about. And I've tried to put Luke in the best situation that I possibly can around golf. It's having an opportunity to have access to great courses and exceptional coaching and teams and friends and all of that. But at the same time, like, if he stays with it, if he keeps growing and gets more competitive, all that, I'm great with it. I would love nothing more than that. But at the same time, I'm not putting all my eggs in that basket, and I'm just going to let him decide how much he wants to take on himself and see where he goes with it. And again, that's my style. It's not necessarily everybody's style, but it's one that I think has allowed us to maintain our relationship without golf getting in the way or holding us back from communicating with each other or enjoying time around each other. And look, I'm excited to let Luke stand on his own 2 feet and see where he takes golf from here.
Just to add on to that, I mean, I definitely feel like golf will work for me, whether I take it to the next level or not. I would love to take it to the next level, but I can see how it works in work and going out with clients and just going out and playing some golf.
And just buddies.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In our first episode, we were talking about the difference between Oliver and I when we get to the course and how Oliver, it's totally exaggerated, right? But like,
Yeah.
I'm the guy that's going to sit there and talk to like 30 people, and Oliver's like, I'm going to the range. I'm going to hit some balls. I'm going to get ready. But that, for me, that's like the jam. That's my juice. Like, I love to see the people, and like, I mean, every time I've seen you guys, I'm like, just a brief catch up. I want to see how it's going, how you're doing, what's going on, and that's that to me. I'm with you, DJ. That's the soul of golf.
Well, and I think about it a little bit like good wine, right? Like, you love your Chardonnay and I love my red. Like, neither one of us is right or wrong, right? Like, your approach and style and technique, there's nothing bad about it. If it's good to you, it must be good for you, right?
I think Oliver's more of a rosé guy, but I haven't confirmed that.
Rosé all day, Oliver.
I'm not even going to dignify that with a response.
This has been great, you guys.
It's such a pleasure, man. It's fun to watch you guys doing this. And I think it's exciting.
Love what you're both doing. Thank you again.
Honored to be here. Yeah, for sure. Thanks, guys. And wishing you all the best. You got a couple of fans right here.
So next week, we are pretty excited to bring our friend Josh Zander in for a discussion. And he is Oliver.
He is a world-class golf instructor who has been teaching for over 30 years. Golf Digest top instructor, Bay Area, Golf Magazine, top 100 for many years over. Just a phenomenal background and super interesting story of growing up in Venezuela, landing ultimately at Stanford, playing professionally, playing in the U.S. Open in 1992. At Pebble. Really great guy that we've gotten to know relatively recently.
Other than the fact that he went to Stanford, I'm really excited about having him in here. So please tune in. Weekday Golf is produced by Armageddon Partners, LLC. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter/X. Let us know what you want to hear about at weekdaygolfpodcast@gmail.com.